Did you know that one of the most common cooking oils sitting in your kitchen today was once used as an industrial lubricant? It sounds like an exaggeration, but there is real history behind it. Before these oils were promoted as heart-healthy and placed on grocery shelves, they were primarily used to grease heavy machinery and make soap. Yet today, we consume them with almost every meal. Hello, my name is George Brown, and welcome to a scientific audit of your pantry. Today, we are investigating the controversial world of seed oils, such as soybean, canola, and cottonseed oil. For 50 years, health organizations have told us these fats are safe. However, modern biology reveals a different story. These highly processed fats are chemically unstable. When consumed regularly, they may contribute to low-grade inflammatory processes in the body. Right now, your pantry likely contains ingredients that carry warning label requirements in some regions. In this video, we will look at the biochemistry of seed oils and artificial additives like red dye 40. We will explain how they may be linked to feelings of fatigue and brain fog, and most importantly, the safe alternatives you should be using instead. Let us look at the labels. One of the biggest misconceptions in the food industry is the belief that all plant oils are equally healthy. To understand the core of the problem, we need to look at exactly how these oils are produced. When you make olive oil or butter, the process is ancient and mechanical. You simply press the olive or churn the cream. The result is a natural product. Seed oils, however, are a completely different story. You cannot simply squeeze a soybean or a corn kernel to get oil. To extract it, manufacturers rely on a complex chemical process using a solvent called hexane. According to industrial safety data sheets, hexane is a solvent of industrial origin, which is classified in safety documentation as a substance capable of affecting the nervous system during production. Because this extraction causes the oil to have an intense industrial odor and turn gray, it must then undergo deep refining to make it suitable for consumption. It goes through a process called RBD, refining, bleaching, and deodorizing. The oil is heated to extreme temperatures, which causes it to oxidize before it even enters the bottle. Then it is bleached to look golden and deodorized to remove the unwanted industrial aroma. What you are buying is not just a plant extract. It is a product that has undergone an extensive path of deep industrial processing. Now let us examine the biology. Why exactly have these oils become the subject of such intense scientific debate? The answer involves a specific molecule called linoleic acid, or omega-6. For thousands of years, the human diet maintained a natural, perfect balance. Humans consumed equal parts of omega-6 and omega-3. However, modern seed oils have introduced a concentration of omega-6 that is historically unprecedented. Research in the journal Open Heart reveals a staggering truth. Our modern diet has shifted so radically that we now consume 20 times more omega-6 than our ancestors did. Here is why this matters to you. Your body uses the fats you consume as the actual building blocks for your cell membranes. Natural fats, such as those in olive oil, butter, or beef tallow, are chemically stable. They help create strong, resilient cells. The omega-6 in seed oils is far less stable and reacts aggressively with oxygen. If your cells are built primarily from this unstable material, their walls become hypersensitive and more prone to oxidation. This process releases compounds known as pro-inflammatory eicosanoids. Think of these as a constant false alarm within your immune system. They can disrupt your internal signaling, keeping your body's defenses in a state of perpetual confusion. When you consume these oils in excess, you are essentially creating a biological environment that is closely associated with the risk of chronic, low-level inflammation. Now, let us take a look at your own pantry. Which bottles might be affecting your metabolic well-being without you even realizing it? Nutritional specialists often highlight a group of oils known in research circles as the Hateful 8. You should check your labels for these names: canola, corn, cottonseed, soybean, sunflower, safflower, grapeseed, and rice bran oil. But why do they cause so much discussion? The answer is oxidation. Think of oxidation like the rust forming on a car, or like an apple that turns brown if you leave it on the table. These seed oils are chemically unstable. When you subject them to heat, for example in a frying pan, they react with oxygen and break down quickly. This breakdown creates free radicals. Imagine free radicals as microscopic particles that over time can increase oxidative stress in your cells and tissues. This is why research from De Montfort University found that heating these vegetable oils releases significant concentrations of reactive chemical compounds called aldehydes. Essentially, frying food in these unstable fats may contribute to increased levels of oxidative stress within the body. We have discussed fats. However, another class of ingredients is equally important: artificial food dyes. Let us focus on the most widespread offender, red dye 40. The first thing you should know is its origin. Red dye 40 is a synthetic compound derived from the processing of industrial hydrocarbons. This allows manufacturers to create vibrant and stable colors that make products visually appealing. But here is where the situation becomes particularly revealing. In the United States, this dye is everywhere, in cereals, drinks, and snacks. The FDA classifies it as safe. However, the European Union has taken a more conservative stance. Based on the famous Southampton 6 study, which pointed to a possible link between synthetic dyes and behavioral changes in children, European regulators adopted strict rules. If a company wants to sell a product containing red dye 40 in Europe, it is required to place a warning label on the package. The label must state, "May have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children." Because of this, many global corporations have changed their formulas for the European market, using natural ingredients such as beet juice. Yet, in other markets, the same product is often sold using synthetic components. This raises a question. If the same ingredient is subject to such strict oversight in London, why does it remain a standard in New York? So, what kind of impact can these synthetic compounds have on cognitive processes? It is not just about hyperactive children. It is about cognitive function in general. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry found a significant link between artificial food dyes and attention markers. Researchers noted that in a portion of the population, these synthetic compounds may influence the natural transmission of neural signals related to concentration. Think of this as neural noise within your system. Your brain uses delicate electrical impulses to focus, learn, and regulate emotions. When synthetic molecules such as red dye 40 or yellow dye 5 enter the system, they can create conditions for reduced cognitive tone. In many individuals, a noticeable increase in mental clarity and stabilization of attention is observed after excluding these dyes. Impulse control becomes more effective, and the ability to focus on a task returns. That is why many experts now recommend an elimination diet as a first step. This simply means completely removing these dyes from your menu for a few weeks to observe changes in your own state. It is an effective way to test how your body reacts to the absence of synthetic additives, without additional interventions. Now, you might think, "I do not fry my food, so I am safe." That is not necessarily true. The most difficult part of this audit is finding the oils hidden within products that carry a health halo. One of the most striking examples today is oat milk. It is marketed as an eco-friendly and healthy alternative to dairy. However, from a biological standpoint, for many people, this is one of the most deceptive features of their diet. First, oats and water do not foam on their own. To achieve that familiar creamy texture, manufacturers add significant amounts of canola oil. Second, the processing of oats converts them into maltose, a type of sugar that causes a sharp spike in blood glucose. Therefore, when you drink an oat milk latte, you are essentially consuming a combination of liquid sugar and industrially processed oil, which may influence your metabolic markers and markers of inflammation. Another hidden situation is salad dressing. You might buy a bottle that says "made with olive oil" in large letters, but when you check the back, olive oil often makes up only a tiny fraction. The primary ingredient is usually soybean oil. This is not just a technical detail. In a study from the University of California, Riverside, published in the journal Endocrinology, scientists compared the effects of soybean oil and fructose in research models. They discovered that a diet high in soybean oil contributed to more pronounced weight gain and significant changes in metabolic markers than an identical diet high in sugar. Think about that. The healthy oil in your salad dressing may have a more substantial impact on your metabolic well-being than added sugar. To navigate this, you must critically evaluate the marketing on the front and carefully examine the ingredient list on the back. But here is the main catch. You may clean your entire kitchen perfectly and throw away every unwanted bottle. Yet you might still consume significant amounts of seed oils. How? By dining out. For many health-conscious individuals, restaurants are one of the primary channels through which hidden added oils enter the diet. Even professional kitchens often use soybean or canola oil for two powerful reasons: economics and aesthetics. First, these oils give food a cosmetic shine that is visually appealing to customers. Second, and most importantly, they are significantly more affordable than natural butter or olive oil. In a highly competitive business, such savings are often critical for the survival of the establishment. Therefore, when you order grilled vegetables or a lean steak, chefs often use these oils to lubricate surfaces or for the final presentation of the dish. As a result, a seemingly healthy meal can contain a significant amount of oxidized omega-6 fats. But you do not need to become a hermit to avoid this. You simply need a straightforward strategy. First, the dry request. When ordering grilled meat or fish, politely ask for them to be prepared without added oil, or with real butter. Most chefs are understanding of such requests. Second, the dressing swap. Signature sauces are almost always created using a base of soybean oil. Instead, ask for the simplest and most transparent alternative: olive oil and lemon wedges on the side. This helps minimize the consumption of hidden oils and makes your dinner biologically higher in quality. So, we have removed unstable oils and synthetic dyes from the diet. The obvious question is, what do we eat instead? To make this simple, we will divide the fats in your kitchen into two specific categories: for high-temperature cooking and for cold use. Category 1. High-heat heroes. When you sear a steak or roast vegetables, you need chemically stable fats. You need fats that do not oxidize the moment they touch a hot pan. Your three best options are beef tallow. This is what our ancestors used for centuries. It is incredibly stable at high temperatures and gives meat a rich, savory flavor. Ghee, also known as clarified butter. This is butter that has been slowly simmered to remove milk proteins and water. It has a very high smoke point and will not burn in your pan. Avocado oil. If you prefer a plant-based option, this is the best choice for cooking over a flame. It has a neutral taste and resists oxidation far better than other vegetable oils. Category 2. Cold flavor. For salads or for drizzling over finished pasta, extra virgin olive oil remains the king. The term extra virgin is critical. It signifies the first cold press without any chemical refining. This process preserves polyphenols, powerful antioxidants that support your cardiovascular health. However, you must treat it delicately. It has a lower smoke point. Under high heat, the antioxidants break down, and the oil becomes rancid. Therefore, do not cook with it. Instead, drizzle it generously over your food after you have removed it from the heat. Finally, let us talk about that sweet craving. Instead of eating candies colored with red dye 40, switch to the original desserts of nature. Fruit. A bowl of strawberries or mango provides the sweetness and color that your brain craves, but they come packed with fiber and nutrients rather than synthetic additives. Today, we have covered a lot of complex scientific information, but knowledge is useless without action. Right now, I know exactly what you are thinking. You are looking at that full bottle of canola oil or that box of colorful cereal in your pantry, and you are saying to yourself, "But I paid money for this. I cannot just throw it away." Psychologists call this the sunk cost fallacy. You feel as though if you get rid of the product, you are wasting money. But here's the truth. You have already spent that money. That money is gone. Now, you have a choice. You can choose either temporary savings or an investment in your long-term well-being. If you decide to use this product only because it is already purchased, you are placing immediate material costs above your quality of life. Therefore, here is my challenge to you. Go to your kitchen right now. Find just one item from the Hateful 8 list, perhaps a bottle of vegetable oil or a cheap salad dressing, and get rid of that product. Do not give it to a friend, and do not donate it to charity. If you have concluded that this composition does not align with your health goals, it is better to simply remove it from your home. Once you have done that, come back and leave a comment below with the words, "Kitchen Audit Complete." If you want to learn more about how to optimize your biology and properly nourish your body, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.